They are not ISPs where they get a return for their investment into the internet exchange point. They can see the value, but the budget to implement such comes from the university authority, not from economy. I'm not saying you will implement it, else you end up chasing somebody who knows there's a value, but he can't just afford it. He doesn't know how to convince his management about the investment. Secondly, when you are implementing an internet exchange point, you have to build a technical group, and that's how we solved it in our own exchange point. Just don't behave as I know it all. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to design it so way. You have to find a way to implement. Get a technical group, mostly from this ISP, a voluntary. Then you say, okay, please, or you can even say, let's have a technical workshop and discuss these things. So at the end of the day, it will be like a membership association telling you what to do. Some of them actually have experience in BGP peering, more than you think. So I think you should form an a working group, a technical group within your ISP, have feedback from them. It's like having a feedback from the industry and going ahead. There's no point implementing IP version 6 if they don't want to. You get what I'm trying to say? Just make them to understand the value of IP version 6. Maybe at the end of the day, the technical group can push it to their respective organization. We need to have this at the exchange point. And just, you'll be having less hassle like initial changing hat every now and then. Thank you. Just my contribution.
Yeah. I know I said that would be the last final comment, but I'll take your comment as well. Okay.
Hi. Blue, green, and red dots. Oh, okay, skipped it. Looking at that slide, I think there's an important factor missing, being the amber ones. And I know you identified...
Sorry, being the?
Amber, they're missing. I'll go into the explanation. You identified them there as working or dead. I think there's a transitional phase in there where IXs tend to plateau. So you said that any IX is succeeding if traffic is growing. But that traffic might just be growing because of local economics, internet penetration rate, but it doesn't actually mean anything to the people who are going to peer. And to add to that, I think we need to speak to preventing volunteer exhaustion or volunteer fatigue, the people who initially set up the IX and then getting bored or tired of the same thing day after day. And part of that, I think, is because IXs tend to be set up by similar mindsets or similar people with similar mindsets. So you tend to get techies doing the same thing, and techies get project fatigue after 3-4 years. So I think it's important for any IX setting up to try and have some diversity in their makeup. So even at the volunteer stage, you don't need to hire a marketing person, but maybe someone who's got a passion for marketing, a person who's got a passion for people or passion for business, get them involved, some entrepreneur, and see what they can do to keep this project going, to keep the idea going, rather than just relying on techies to carry this thing past the initial technical phase.
Thank you, Aniba, and thank you, Winston. To be clear, it's not that V6 is a problem. I was talking about how do we grow and spur V6. And you're absolutely correct. It's got to be, in both cases, it's got to be the community that describes this. So Mike is being very coy at the back, but he's a lawyer by trade. He's actually one of the good ones and a nice one. And that's what drives our exchange point. The different aspects. So we've got people from a marketing background, we've got people from a regulatory background, we've got people with a technical background, all forming the basis of what becomes our management committee for the ISPA itself, and they're responsible for then obviously making sure the exchange point takes over. So absolutely, you need that diverse set of skills. And you're right, it's not going to come from engineering people. They see just an aspect of this. But in order to grow this, you need to grow your technical community, because and I always believe that engineers don't understand the power that they have within an organization. One story I like to say is a peering war between that happened like 2 years ago. Happened because somebody called somebody else's wife a name on IRC. Two engineering people were arguing with each other on IRC, and somebody called his wife something, and they DP'd. I'm not saying it's, please, I'm not justifying this. I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do. But and that's a case of an engineer using power incorrectly. But I think building your engineering community and getting your engineering community to understand how and why you need to grow and get connected and do whatever you need to do, that's key, that's an element. So if I go back a step to what I mentioned earlier on, where ISOC run their Access project, that's exactly the first thing that they do. They get the various stakeholders involved from different levels. Community that's going to be the solution to, well, or both of your points where we could not raise us, we have no way of contacting anyone. That is, mail, numbers, everything fails. We're not able to get any information about whether or not traffic is flowing through, not even growing, just flowing through the exchange point. So yeah, I agree, there's exchange points that don't see a lot of growth by my people peering. In these, like I say, in these cases, we couldn't raise anybody, so.
Sorry, I just meant a fourth phase for IXs that are dying or on life support, or they're just waiting for the switch to power down, and that's the IX done.
Okay.
So that's what I mean.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Well, I'd like to, first of all, give a round of applause to all of you for sitting through this long panel. So thank you very much, first of all. And all the questions will help inflate his ego. So, but thank you very much for the presentation. It obviously got the most questions today. So, and at that point, I'll ask Machuki to come up with the cocktail information and the peering introductions. Mitch.
A round of applause to Hisham for the excellent work this afternoon. Okay, so we have a cocktail. So part of the reason why we have cocktails and dinners throughout the peering forum is the objective is to get to meet people and talk about peering. That's why we also do the peering introduction. So you get to know them and you can track them in the course of the day. And the time where we have the most time is the socials, right? You have at least for this evening 1.5 hours, so you can talk to people for 1.5 hours during the cocktail. Now, I only received one more peering introduction, and that's but I also have others who didn't show during the earlier session, so I'll ask them. One of them I know is Jaguar Networks. If Jaguar Networks is in the room, come to the mic and introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, Mathieu Panessa, Jaguar Network. We're regular comer to Afrinic or AFPIC meeting. Most of you know us. We do peer in Marseille, which is, as of today, the closest location we can get to Africa, in France 6, but we also help people with IPv6. So if you want to peer with us in Europe, or hopefully soon in Africa, just come see me. Thank you.
Thanks. Let's see who else was missing. Yeah, Richter. Richter is not here. Okay. Anyone else who wanted to introduce themselves before the call? I didn't get yours. Okay. Freddie, come. You need 7. No? Maybe it went to the spam folder. I'll look for it. Okay.
Freddie from Init 7. I'm afraid I probably sent it to the wrong email address to Michuki, but I've been around in this community for a while, and so this is Init 7 AS13030. The latest development is that we have now a POP in Marseille in the SFR collocation. So this is almost Africa. If I ask Mathieu, Marseille is probably the most African city in Europe. So we're almost there. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. Anyone else who would like? Yeah, please. If you haven't done introductions, you're welcome to queue behind and make the introduction.
For one, contact information, peering at is.co.za. Peering policy is regional restrictive, meaning that in some regions we are more open than in other regions. Thank you.
Thanks, Rian. Are we done, or are you thinking about it? All right, going once, twice, closed. Okay, so we've closed peering introductions. So the next part of the day, or rather the last thing for the day, is the fun part, which means I'm standing between you and drinks. The drinks are sponsored by Hurricane Electric. I'd like to ask Martin Levy to come and say one thing, and then we can go for drinks. Martin?
Take 10 minutes and add yourself. It really is quite simple. Anyway, this is my third AFPIF, and it is a singularly brilliant event. I'm so sad that I missed the very first one, but I promise I won't miss any others. But it is also a great pleasure to help sponsor and sponsor a social event which at this point in time, after a good long day, should be very welcome by everybody. So with no further ado, I would just like to say thank you for the honor.
To come in at 9 o'clock, but due to some control, he will be getting in here around 9:30. So we'll start slightly late, but we'll still try to stay within the time frame for the opening session. The speeches are going to be in French, so as you walk in, please pick your handset. For those who are Anglophone, they will be in French. And then
So, with no further ado, I would just like to say thank you for the honor.
To come in at 9 o'clock, but due to some control, he will be getting in here around 9:30. So we'll start slightly late, but we'll still try to stay within the time frame for the opening session. The speeches are going to be in French, so as you walk in, please pick your handset. For those who are Anglophone, they will be in French. And then yes, French, and then yes.